Out to Alex. Alex snaps off an inside one, and it is ripped out of the hands of David Vast by Brett Sullivan, who just lays out past him for the block. Jacob Lean sends it across to the middle of the field. All right, now it's in the hands of Danny Collum. Schoenrock calls for it, but instead it goes up to Tyler Latham. A big bid coming from Ethan, but he doesn't get a hold of it before it's corralled by Schoenrock. He sends it back to Collum. Collum looking and sends out a bender into space to very open number 25, Brett Sullivan. Now Schoenrock rifles one across the field. Danny DeClercq and David Shirley are there. Max Shepard on the deep. All right, this one comes back to the other Lean, the elder Lean, Austin Lean, but Marcus Thaw intercepts that one from Austin Lean and then sends it into the middle. It's centered to Jonathan Mass. Thunderbirds get into a vertical stack. Thaw has it on the backhand sideline. Doesn't have any cuts right now. Tranquillo begins a cut across the back, and it's sent far across the field. There are several Thunderbirds there, and Morgenstern. Sullivan's got it. Sends a nifty forehand out into space, but it is caught by Aaron Watson and not his intended receiver, who slipped. And then Pat Hammonds gives chase along with Dulabon. It's going to be a floater. Who's going to get it? Rob goes up and gets a block. Dulabon does, and then Pat Hammonds picks it up, sends it up to Sam Van Duzen, who launches a laser of a forehand. If Aaron Buss can catch up to it, nobody else will be able to. Brings it back to the goal line, looks to his left, and finds the air traffic control. Here in the hands of Austin Lean. He tries to sneak an inside out past Jonathan Mast. He did not. Jonathan throws one up to Eddie Peters. Austin Lean and Eddie Peters gather underneath this one. Eddie jumps up and takes it away from Austin Lean. Far side, and Schuweiler launches one. It's for Danny Collum, and you see Tranquillo's speed, really tremendous speed, and we don't see if we're going to get any kind of a call there. But Van Duzen has it. He floats one up. It's a lefty flick. It's coming down towards, whoa! Back is Pat Hammonds. Swung out to Kunza. Shuffled into the end zone where a racing Rob Dulabon, lefty, but then flicks it out. Oh, and boy, this one is yanked deep to Woolley. Thaw is with him. Woolley goes up, grabs it with two hands. Murray is downfield, and then Morton is here on the other side of the field, but he's never field again, and Max Shepard runs to take one from Tyler Kunza, and unsurprisingly, Jack's one. It's bending towards the sideline, and it is pulled down. Looks like A. Thorne. His Mark Schuweiler. Watson looking backwards, sees Van Duzen covered by two people, Grovender and Murray, and so he finds, with an inside out, he finds Jonathan Mast, and then Jonathan Mast gets it over to Repperman. Repperman back to Mast, and then here comes DeClercq towards the sideline. And it's yanked deep. It's popped up. Thunderbirds might have a chance to catch up to it. Nope, in fact, they don't. And instead it comes out in Jacob Lean's hands. Jacob's looking. DeClercq cuts across the back of the end zone in the 7 cut, but then brings it back, and Schoenrock throws one up, which finds DeClercq. And Austin Lean, and Vats just does what he does, but then Nick Hyde coming out, coming in is Sullivan, and the disc goes up, and it's up to Latham Fedorenko on him, but not close enough to make a difference, and it is caught in the end zone for a goal. He said, I want to see. Whoa! Dylan DeClercq coming in and blocks a Sam Van Duzen throw to Rob Dulabon, a big layout bid. Now Danny Collum picks it up. He's being marked by Aaron Buss. Steve McGilsky on the mark, and he's got to give chase to Brent Sullivan up the line. Brett fades back into the middle. He and Collum are playing catch, and the game finishes in the end zone. And he's got a receiver open in the end zone. Manages to throw it, and instead, Lean throws this one up to Carlos Wally, who's marked by Anson Repperman. Repperman goes up, and he does it out to Collum. Still time. Disc is up, and Latham's underneath it, and it's pulled out of the air by Rob Dulabon. Repperman, and now going deep is Grovender. Jonathan Mass is with him. The disc is hanging up in the air. Grovender has some horses. Can he get to it? He does. Catches it on the way down. Pancakes it, and then decides he's going to have a huck, which he sends out to Fedorenko, and Fedorenko catches it towards that corner. Dulabon had it locked up, and he finds the disc and throws one that provides. And we've got Tyler Grovender working against Morgenstern, and then we've got Mary joining him. Morgenstern underneath it. There's a big crowd, and Mary's the one who comes down with it. It was a huge inside-out shot. And now Austin Lean comes up with it. He's got Wally working on the far side of the field, but instead Grovender and Wally playing catch, and then sends it out to Thorne, and Thorne just whips one. Really a beautiful inside out. And huge bid by Tranquillo. He takes one away from Morton. The Thunderbirds in a forced middle defense, shifting the force with every throw. Mass throws one out into space that Peters takes away from Mary. It's on the goal line. Peters looks and then sends it sideways to Anson Repperman. Anson Repperman uses that big long body to break to Aaron Watson. Aaron Buss on a narrow section of the field, and now they pull the trigger, and look who's underneath it. He doesn't even have to jump. It's the air traffic controller, Anson Repperman, working against Wally. Wally, wow! Wally smacks down with a gorilla paw. That throw, it falls into the hands of Pat Hammonds or Van Dusen, but then it is immediately turfed, so Wally gets the block that he should have had, and let's give him bookends. Wow. Austin Lean goes up the field. Grovender attempts to make hand for a righty here. Everybody very, very tight. We'll see what happens when they put it into play. It's sent up a little backhand flip, and being marked by Jacob Lean, and then Brennenberg up the middle to Hyde, and then he sends one out into space that the clerk should be able to catch up with, and does. It was had a little bit more he's going to face. And sure enough, he goes right ahead and does that to Sam Van Dusen. Van Dusen's got Aaron Watson being marked by String Schoenrock, and Van Dusen could not resist it. Because where else would you rather have it but in the hands of Alex Thorne, who launches a forehand huck, and there's a crowd underneath it, mostly in white shirts, but who comes down with it but Fetchko. Being marked by Fedorenko, and then he throws one, and Dave Vatz give it that Thorne has it, sends one out to Max Shepard, and you got to give credit for a block. Collum has a couple options there and sends one to the option that you don't, and the throw went out of bounds. Thorne now sends one to Vatz, but Vatz has it stolen away from him looks in front of him and then sends it out into space, and it cannot be picked up by either Lee, but instead they pull it down. Now Beardsley coming in, but instead it's caught on the sideline by Peters, who sends it up to Shepard, who leaps to grab it. It's a tricky one. Grovender pops one up, and Morton can't quite get a handle on it. McGilski standing next to it, picks it up, and he's got Thaw cutting up the line, sends him a touch forehand. Thaw's got a lot of vision. He's got Buss in the end zone, and Dulabon cutting hard to the corner. Will Morgenstern find him? He does! Dulabon calling for it. Peters. Schoenrock and Tranquillo might have a battle for this one. Dulabon joining in. Tranquillo makes up the distance, jumps too early. To Jacob Lean. Jacob Lean with a kind of push pass, and Anson Repperman. And we've got McGilski going deep, and a blading forehand, actually just a sweet bender from Buss to McGilski. Calling it out. Schoenrock sends one out into space, and arriving just in time. And Schoenrock takes possession of it, and a huge bid over there. Call to huck it, and there's the huck. It's a blade, and it's finding Repperman in the back, but Schoenrock gets a hand on it. And if the Thunderbirds could possibly, wow, Eddie Peters snaps off a block, a lazy swing out there to Grovender, and the Thunderbirds looking like they were sagging off the handlers, and Eddie Peters, using the quickness that he has, just sprung into position and knocked it out of the air. Mast picks it up. Working in front of him is Repperman, but instead he sends it across the field to Sam Van. Sam Van has an easy forehand out there to Eddie, who gets the bookends. Disc is caught, and then hucked deep to Dulabon and Latham. Latham has great position, and Dulabon can only throw up a sort of Alex Thorne. And then Thorne finds Tyler. Tyler finds Shepard, who does just the impossible. He just reaches up and finds the disc, snaps it out of the air. Cutting in, Latham back here in front of us. Disc is sent out wide, and it's turned over on the goal line as Minnesota running out of legs, I think, and this one snapped off to Dulabon. Sends it out, and of course it is launched immediately by Jacob Lean. Dulabon, no, let's see, it's Marcus Daw underneath it, and Schoenrock is put in play. And you heard Coach Lou here. Everybody around Grovender. Grovender's got a deep look. He sends it out towards the back corner of the end zone on the backhand side, and it finds its target and catches up to Chris Brennenberg, who laces one to Vatz. Vatz dishes to Alex. Alex sends it to Tyler, and Alex will maybe have no choice but to score on this one. Don't know that's what he wanted to do. Morton sends one up to Austin Lean, who throws a hammer out, and Woolley catches up to it with a spectacular one-handed grab. Sends one up to Fedorenko. Oh, and it is ripped. So here, if it should come to that against Indy, and a nice one sent from Danny Collins. One, and there's calling for end zone. The clerk, and it is turned over on the sideline. It never reaches the end zone, and this one is in the books.